Hey everyone, a late night vlog, early morning vlog on the Transbay Transit Center and the second crack found in the steel beam that is just above the bus ramp but under the rooftop Salesforce Park area. I'm looked at a lot of documents regarding change orders, regarding past reports. I have reports going back to, and comments going back to 2013. I'm still reviewing, but I haven't yet found any evidence of earthquake related or common inspections that were done during the time 2017 to opening that would have allowed a spotting of any potential problem. And I say that to say this. Mark Zabanah, the current executive director of the Transbay Joint Powers Authority, pointed to 2016 January as the time of the last inspection. Let's think about this, you and I. Why would anybody say, basically, hey, the last time we inspected the steel or that area was 2016, when there have been so many examples, so many instances, of seismic activity between that point and today, between 3 and 4 on the Richter scale, and just over 4 events that were felt in San Francisco, let alone the Bay Area. You would think that someone would turn around and say, hey, let's go over and do a deep inspection of the transit center to make sure we don't see any cracks anywhere, right? Or anything that might potentially happen, right? And then the other question is, did Frank Clark simulate the design for load? Load is another term for vibration from buses running through it, people walking on the roof, people dancing rhythmically on the roof, which happened recently, wind, as well as ground activity, buses going by, the whole 9 yards, the whole system. And it really is a system of activities that would create the kind of vibration that could cause the building, if it's not properly put together, if you will, properly designed, to fall apart. Was that type of test done? Was it driven through a computer simulator? And if so, what was found? All of those questions need to be answered, because it's more than an inspection problem. It's not just, hey, it's not a snapshot you take in time. It's a dynamic, because this is a building that's been a constant state of flux, all right? And then, which brings me to this other point, change orders. There's a whole slew of change orders that were implemented in 2017. You mean to tell me the building wasn't inspected after the change orders were installed? So something is off here. And it's a more complex system of interrelationships than just saying, hey, that thing was inspected. That's simplistic. This is a complex problem. But every complex problem has within it a simple set of drivers of that problem. One thing that happened, or things that happened, that caused bigger things to occur that led to what we are talking about now, and these cracks in the steel. When I hear crack in steel, you know what that tells me? It tells me that I have a building, and when I move the building like this, I move the building like that, and I'm exaggerating, you get cracks. If I'm getting cracks in the steel, that tells me that the design itself was not the right one for the type of load the building is bearing. That's a bad thing. All right, and you know what? it's quite possible too that crack is something that wouldn't have reared its head, if you will, until after the building was open and started to be used. Because then you get all that activity. That's why it was important to computer test it, you know. That's why it's important also, you know, to evaluate it after tremors. Because if you're making all these change orders and you're evaluating it, you still have to recomputer test it. That should be an ongoing activity, not just something like, oh, we did it once back in 14 and 15 and 16. No, when you make these change orders, you have to run those change orders through a computer and do it again and again and again. Which brings me to another thought, and that has to do with the cost of the building. Everyone talks about cost overruns, and what happens is reporters repeat this because the modern reporter is basically running a gossip mill. I quote you, therefore I put what you say in, and it goes out. That's not helping anybody. We have to go back to more of an investigative path, and perhaps this is the story that leads to that, I hope. But I digress. We have a situation where people are talking about cost overruns without asking the question, hey, they tried to reduce the cost. Did they reduce the safety along with it? Study those 2017 Cost Review Committee documents. Subscribe to Zenny62 on YouTube.